Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to another project. This is a workbench that I picked up at an auction and added that cross tube and some cross beams and built this little transmission vise. And this transmission is a 4L60E out of a 99 Silverado, and it has 50,000 miles, pretty much exactly, on the transmission, and the sun shell is broken. So, I believe that takes out reverse and like second and third, or second and fourth. So it can still drive forward, and it's pretty much a dead giveaway. That's the problem. So I'm going to pull this apart. The truck that it is going in is my last truck with a plow on it. And it's wintertime, and it's snowing. I've got the torque converter already removed, and the bell housing is removable with a T50 Torx bit. So I'm going to pop that bell housing off. Then I'm going to pull the pan, and I'm going to pull a couple solenoids and prep for removing that pump. That's my first step to get this transmission apart. But before working on a transmission, I need a clean work surface. So much for that idea. I done stripped that right off. So I guess I'll try to see if I can do this without removing the bell housing. So I've taken this brush here and I've just agitated all the dirt out of this. It's been sitting in the back barn for a couple years now, I guess. And I've never needed this truck since I had my other big plow truck, and I've had other new vehicles and whatnot. So the goal is if I get this up and running, I've got Norman, the 2-wheel drive diesel for the summertime. I've got a 69 Chevy C10 for the summertime. I've got a Subaru that just sits out there if I needed another winter vehicle. So I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to get rid of my 2020 Silverado. I love it. I just don't drive as much as I used to, thanks COVID. So there's really just not a reason to have that payment. So I'm going to get this all blown out now that it's all agitated and see if I can get this pump out with the bell housing in place. If not, I'll have to go get another T50 bit and try to break these loose again. Now I've got the pan off, and I need to pull the filter, and then I need to remove this solenoid and this solenoid before I can pull the pump out, because this one right here is engaged inside the pump. So if I try to pull the pump, it's just going to damage parts. We don't like that. We don't want to hurt anything more than we have to. All right, well, off to another start with a new T50 borrowed from my father-in-law, and another one on the way from the local Napa. And this is an impact driver, and you can see that it's got like a cam action to it. So when you hold it to the left and pop it with a hammer, eventually it'll break loose. And it's a whole lot easier than just constant twisting with a big pry bar. So I'm going to keep popping away at these and see if I can get the rest of them broke loose without breaking a bit. We'll see how that goes. Gonna keep working. So with 3 stubborn ones left, I have reverted to the hot wrench, and I just warmed up the back side of the ears a little bit on these 2 and was able to get them broke loose. So I've got 1 left now, and it's right by that electric shift sensor. So I'm just going to use a little bit more precision with the heat. I feel like I can get in there and warm it up, and then just keep on tapping with that impact driver. It's working pretty good, even if my dog chewed on my handle all those years ago. All right, that's better. Now I have to remove this pump, and I have it loose, but the proper way to do it is there's a puller that clamps here and then pushes in that manner. So you crank it down here and it pulls it up against the main shaft. I don't have that puller, and I was thinking about a heavy 3-jaw puller that clamps down that might be able to get behind these splines, but I do have it to where it'll rotate. So it is loose. So I'm gonna just try to see if I can just pull and rotate a little bit at a time and see what that'll get me. I can pry also from underneath the pump here. There's 2 little slots that I can get to, but it's just cocking this way, and I want it to come straight out because it's about that tall. And just prying on this side really only helps to loosen it. And I've got a little lube down in there all around. So being that it'll spin, I'm just gonna see if I can just work it out. All right, so this is the servo for, I think, first and reverse, and it pushes right there on that band. And so I need to remove that servo from right here, just a C-clip or a spring clip, and then I can start disassembling this transmission. There's also a pin right there that is accessible through the valve body. So I've got this servo loose, and I think it's out of the way now, but I also need to get that pin removed. So now it's time to take the valve body off. And for that, I will flip the transmission upside down. So now I will remove the shifter detent, and then all of these 10mm and a few 8mm screws, and this valve body will lift off. Now there are some little 1/4-inch like check balls or like BB looking things inside there, and so it is very important to remember where they come from because they need to go back. Now this is a funny reflection and a funny little picture, but I'm going to take a snapshot of this because you can see the little detent balls all over the place that I was talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture, and then I will circle every single ball that I take out on the picture so that way I remember where they go. I do plan to put a shift kit in this, and most likely the shift kit will tell me where they go as well, but I would rather just have a solid reference of where they came from before I put this back together. All right, I have those 7 balls removed, and now I just have a few 8mm screws here And when I reference the size, it's actually the size of the socket, not the actual screw. And then a few 10 millimeters here for that little guy. And this plate, this valve body plate, will be removed so I can get to that first and reverse band. Now that that plate has been removed, you can see that this pin here is upside down, but that's what holds that band in place. And then it's also important to note that right here and right here are two more of the detent balls that need to be removed and will need to be replaced for reassembly. Now I have the complete valve body removed, and it is time to start disassembling the internals.